Ile Baba Landlord, the cursed house of Baba Landlord. Baba Landlord was the richest man in the village of Araromi. He was so wealthy that the village king had made him a high chief in Araromi town. Baba Landlord owned the biggest and most extravagant house in the village. He was known for his collection of exotic cars and his fancy clothing. He also owned several homes in the village and had many tenants paying him rent. However, Baba Landlord was not a kind or humble man. He was loud, obnoxious, and extremely proud. No one knew the source of his wealth or how he had become so rich. There were rumors that his wealth was not pure and that he had done some questionable things to acquire it. Despite his wealth, Baba Landlord was notorious for terrorizing his tenants. If someone owed him even a day's rent, he wouldn't hesitate to throw them out. Baba Landlord had three wives: Faderera, Bumi, and Bisi, his youngest and latest wife. Faderera was his first wife, and she had four sons for Baba Landlord. Bumi had two daughters, and Bisi had one son. Despite his immense wealth, Baba Landlord was extremely stingy with his family. He rarely gave them any money and refused to provide for their basic needs. His wives and children constantly complained, but he would not budge. Baba Landlord had a strange habit of never depositing his money in the bank. Instead, he tore his mattress and stored his money inside. He was so paranoid about losing his wealth that he refused to use banks. As the years went by, Baba Landlord's children grew up and could not understand their father's stinginess. They decided to investigate and find out the truth about their father's wealth. One day, Toby, the first son, followed his father early in the morning to see where he went before everyone else woke up. Toby was shocked to see his father pouring water at the entrance of all his houses. He repeated this ritual in every one of his properties. Toby told his mother and siblings what he saw, but they didn't think much of it. Then one day, Baba Landlord called his wife and children and together told them never to spend the night in any of his other houses except for the one they lived in. He warned them never to enter those houses. His family didn't think much of it, but Faderera called a meeting with the other wives and children to see what could be done about their husband's stinginess. Bumi revealed that she knew where Baba Landlord kept his money, inside the mattress in his room. She also mentioned that he slept alone and no one was allowed in his room. The family decided to put sleeping pills in his food to make him sleep so that they could access his money. That night, Baba Landlord slept like a log, and his family was able to sneak into his room and take some money from his mattress. They were all overjoyed with the success of their plan. However, the next morning, Baba Landlord woke up hysterical, shouting at his family for not waking him up. You see, Baba Landlord had been pouring water in the front of his house every day for the past 20 years, and he had never missed a day. This made him extremely scared, and he feared the consequences of missing this ritual. He decided to forget about it and perform the ritual the next day. But something strange happened. The Kuti family who lived downstairs suddenly got a promotion and came to inform Baba Landlord that they were moving out. This was shocking, as no one had ever moved out of Baba Landlord's houses before. His tenants usually stayed for many years as per the agreement Baba Landlord had made with Ifa, the village herbalist. Baba Landlord was terrified and ran to Ifa to ask what was going on. The Ifa checked and saw danger roaming around Baba Landlord's houses. He told him to buy a big cow to appease the gods. Then suddenly, Faderera's children got sick and started dying one after the other. Faderera was devastated, and Baba Landlord went back to Ifa. This time, Ifa asked him to bring 12 tubers of yam to appease the gods. Baba Landlord did as he was told, but 2 months later, Bumi's two daughters also passed away. Baba Landlord was terrified and he ran to all the Ifa houses in the village, but they all demanded different things to appease the gods. Baba Landlord refused to spend any more money and asked Ifa to return all the things he had given him. Ifa chased him away and warned him that if he did not confess his sins, he would become poor. Baba Landlord was now terrified. Baba Landlord's fear were coming true. He was losing his wealth and his wives and children were dying. He decided to leave Araromi town and move to the city. There, he married a widowed woman called Tinuke. In the city, Baba Landlord met Tinuke, a kind and gentle woman who had recently lost her husband. Despite her sorrow, Tinuke was full of love and compassion. She saw the good in Baba Landlord and decided to marry him. They soon had a son who brought joy and happiness into their lives. Tinuke was overjoyed with her new family, but she soon noticed that Baba Landlord was distant and cold towards their son. She didn't understand why her husband couldn't love their child like she did. Baba Landlord was afraid of getting attached to the child as he was haunted by his past and didn't want to repeat the same mistake. As their son grew up, he looked exactly like Toby, Fadera's son, Baba Landlord's first son, who had died. The resemblance was uncanny and it brought back painful memories for Baba Landlord. He couldn't bear to look at his son and would often leave the house unable to face the reality. One day, Baba Landlord decided to return to Araromi town to look for Bisi, his former wife, and her son. Baba Landlord knew that he was responsible for the misfortune of Bisi's son, but he had never admitted it to anyone. When he arrived in Araromi, he was surprised to find that Bisi's son was still alive and living in a church. However, the boy was mentally unstable and had no memory of his past. Bisi was shocked to see Baba Landlord, as she had also believed that he was responsible for her son's issues. Baba Landlord took a long, hard look at Bisi's son and instantly felt a wave of guilt wash over him. He confessed to all the evil he had done in the past, including the death of all his children. He revealed that his wealth was acquired through black magic and he had used the life and glory of his tenants to maintain it. A week later, Baba Landlord passed away. His death was a shock to everyone in the town, but it was a relief for the tenants who had suffered under his rule. As for Bisi's son, after Baba Landlord's confession and death, he miraculously became well. His memory returned and he was able to live a normal life once again. The town of Araromi was finally free from the clutches of Baba Landlord's darkness. The tenants were able to live in peace and harmony and the town prospered without his malicious presence. Bisi and her son were able to move on from their painful past and live a happy life together. Baba Landlord's death may have been sudden, but it brought closure and a fresh start to everyone in Araromi town. His evil deeds were finally exposed and justice was served. It was a new beginning for the town and its people, and they were grateful for the happy ending that had all been waiting for. The end.